Hello, beautiful humans. Today, I'm Gemma Drone, by the way, for those of you who are new. And in the last video, we talked about the overwhelming emotional sensations and just the overwhelming feelings that can accompany the awakening and transformation process. And so, if you haven't seen that one's up in the feed pretty close to the top, I think, so you can go back and check that one out. But these sensations and this feeling of overwhelm, just complete overwhelm, is often accompanied by physical sensations as well. And the physical symptoms of awakening can be very strong, but often we may not realize that it's a part of the awakening process. Because when we're going through this transformation, when we're going through the process of awakening, it's happening on every single level of our being. And we often can understand how it would happen emotionally or energetically, but we don't always realize that it's happening physically as well. Even if we're not experiencing a whole lot of physical symptoms, it's still happening on a deep physical and cellular level. And some of the ways that that might show up for you during this process is in so many different ways. It can be strange aches and pains that come out of nowhere that you haven't had before. It can even be chronic aches and pains and chronic symptoms that you've had for a while, but you can't figure out where they came from. It can be digestive issues, headaches, migraines, and it can also be sensations that you can't quite put your finger on, that you might feel like you're getting sick or getting a cold or getting the flu, but not quite. Or you never actually get sick because something is off. It just feels really weird. You might feel, someone wrote recently that it's like nauseous but not nauseous. It's those feelings. It's like almost this but not quite, because it's different from what we're used to experiencing. And it show up, it shows up differently for every single person. For me, it was migraines and chronic digestive issues that resolved once I really moved through the challenging phases of awakening and did some deep emotional processing. And so, when we're experiencing these things, it can be really frightening and it can be scary. And we can think that there's something really wrong with us. And we can, go to doctors and try to figure it out. And often they just tell us, no, there's nothing wrong with you. You're fine, or it's all in your head, or, you're having a nervous breakdown, or, however they can wrap their minds around it, because they don't understand what's happening either. But when we're experiencing these things, once we start to open up to the idea that this is a physical shifting that's happening inside of us, then we can let go of the fear a little bit and allow that physical process of transformation to happen. And it can be really challenging because it can also wipe us out. It can make us completely exhausted. It can make us fairly consumed with dealing with these physical symptoms. And we feel like we don't have time to focus on the emotional stuff, or it's hard to meditate because we're in pain, or, whatever it is that we're experiencing. And it can make it difficult to move through our daily, day-to-day life, and hard to do our responsibilities, the things that we're supposed to do, go to work, take care of the kids, because we're overwhelmed by these physical symptoms. And more than that, it's often the fear that overwhelms us, that there's something really wrong with us. And again, that's because the transformation is happening on every level of our being. And so, as these physical symptoms show up in whichever way they show up for you, and they may change from day to day, it can also be sensations of heat, almost like hot flashes, or switching quickly from hot to cold. and knowing that this is your body in transformation. And it's often part of the detox process. We talk about how through this process of transformation, we're detoxing also everything that's not a vibrational match for this new higher vibration that's come in is going to be moved to the surface, vibrated to the surface, because it can't exist. These lower vibration things cannot exist with this higher vibration. So they are moved closer to the surface where we can see them, experience them, feel them, and then we're able to shift them and move them out. And so that detoxing happens emotionally, it happens spiritually, and physically. And so a lot of these symptoms are part of that physical detox that accompanies the awakening and transformation process. And so if you're experiencing these symptoms right now, or other symptoms that are really challenging for you in this process of awakening, then please send me a private message and we can talk and see if we're a vibrational match, and I'll share the work that I do with my clients, and see if we're a good fit to work together. If you have any questions, please just leave them here in the comments. And I would love to hear what you guys are experiencing as far as physical symptoms are concerned right now, because there's always new ones that pop up that I haven't heard before. So please feel free to share those. And thank you guys for listening. I want to say hi to Carolyn and Moselle and Christine, and probably a couple others I can't see in there. But thank you guys so much for joining me, and I'll see you on the Facebook group. Have a great night.